Talking about festive season and festive season cooking, have you ever considered cooking a rum and raisin loaf for Christmas?
I haven't, but that sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic. Something that should be on one of these apps. Let's check it out.
There's no better accompaniment to a Christmas feast than a rum and raisin loaf with fresh cheese.
This time of year, everyone is about the big Christmas cakes, puddings, as well as mince pies. But for many of us, that's far too rich, especially after a big Christmas lunch. Hillary, the Sunday Times food editor, has got an alternative for us, which still incorporates all the Christmas flavors, as well as the dried fruits.
Yeah.
What are we going to be making today?
It's a rum and raisin Christmas bread that I'm making. And it's sort of slightly sweet sour, and I'm going to serve it this Christmas with a cheese board and some fresh fruit after the meal. Well, it's a really simple loaf. So what I've got in here is 4 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar. We just want slight sweetness to it. And we're baking with yeast. Salt is absolutely essential, otherwise it's completely tasteless. So good grinding of salt. Using a round bladed knife, just mix that through, all those ingredients. So using your round bladed knife, make a well in the center. And it's very difficult to tell how much moisture you need with flour. If your flour is very fresh, it will need less, and if it's very dry, it will need more.
Add 400 ml of water with 60 ml of olive oil. Then pour the water and olive oil and mix it in until you have a rough dough.
Then once the dough's come together, put it on a lightly floured surface. Just sprinkle it lightly with some flour. And this is the part where you knead the dough. And I'm sure you've seen your mum knead dough. It's just turning it backwards and forwards, adding more flour if it's a bit sticky.
How long does the dough need to rest?
It should rest long enough for it to double in size. But it has to be done in a place where it's really nice and warm. Otherwise, the yeast won't grow. And what happens is the yeast starts growing and giving off carbon dioxide. That's why it sort of puffs up beautifully. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Once the dough is roughly double its original size, remove it and knock back the dough by kneading gently a few times. Then flatten the dough with a pastry roller until it's thin and smooth.
Now you need to knock it back, roll it out into a big rectangle, and the exciting part, adding those raisins. Smell really good. Sprinkle them all over the dough. You'll notice there's a bit of alcohol left in the bottom. Don't throw it away, or don't be tempted to drink it, because we're going to use it later.
Why is it that raisins, liqueurs, and spices are so typical during the festive season?
We follow the sort of Northern Hemisphere customs. The original mince pie actually did have meat in it. And that's how it evolved. And the way to keep it fresh was to use all those spices. That was the way, because there was no refrigeration. And there we have it. Shape it into a lovely round loaf. But if you didn't like a round loaf, you could make a long loaf. I just like a round loaf. That's perfect. On the baking tray. And then here comes the part with the leftover booze. You pour that over the top, just smear it over the dough. Then sprinkle it with some white sugar. Leave it for about 10 minutes, and then in the oven, it's quite a high temperature, 200 degrees C, for about 40 minutes.
Add salt to the flour, yeast and sugar mix. Then make a well in the center and add water and olive oil till you have enough dough. Turn it out onto some flour and knead. Then place in a bowl and cover in a warm place. Once it's double in size, roll out the dough and cover with boozy raisins. Roll up and knead till the raisins are spread throughout. Lastly, cover the round dough with the booze, sprinkle with sugar, then bake at 180 degrees for 40 minutes.
Voila! After 40 minutes in the oven, I've cooled it, put it out on a board, and I've served it with a selection of South African cheeses. We make really good cheeses in this country.
Oh, that's such a great alternative to have. Yeah.
Yes, and some lovely fruit, seasonal fruit. I think that's a perfect way to end a Christmas meal.
I think you've done a superb job. Remember, if you want to get this ingredient list sent directly to your phone, all you have to do is SMS the word loaf, L-O-A-F, to 33728.
Or find the recipe in the Sunday Times Food Weekly this Sunday.
can we please get a slice out of here?
Yes, let's go.
For those who prefer chocolate over rum, cover the loaf in melted chocolate. The possibilities are endless.